Hello everyone and welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We're raising money for Alzheimer Foundation. Links to donate can be found below the stream. We would also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now it's time for colinbolts and Secret of Evermore. Take it away.
Hello, I'm Colin, or colinbolts, and this is Secret of Evermore, and we're going to be doing some many percent today. Here I'm accompanied with my friends Gintatsu2.
Yo.
And my buddy, the RPG Godfather, rolling in.
Fired up!
So, I'm gonna get started. What I need to know the the file name. Sorry, I closed that. Really?
Yeah. Give me a second.
I swear I wrote my name down somewhere.
So, you thought you would get a hero name, but it's really me, Dio. The file name is Dio.
Alrighty.
What a legend.
Capital D-I-O.
So the way the timing in this game starts is kind of funky actually, and there's normally this big long cutscene that plays, but we're just gonna skip all that by holding start. I'm gonna try to just get the timing as close as possible and count it down, but it'll be 6 seconds after starting the game here. So, alright, yeah. Alright. So 3, 2, 1, and go.
Fired up!
Handy's off. First thing you want to do in this game is go fight some bushes
Always gotta get the bush.
and lose.
Yeah, so the very first sequence of events here is there's this boss fight coming up. These nasty raptors that are very strong, and there's 2 ways to progress this story, and we can either beat them or die. So obviously it's much faster and much easier to die. So by getting the dog in the trigger to go to that screen, and then dying with the boy, and then switching to the dog while he's in the trigger as the boy is dying, we can instantly skip the cutscene and all that good stuff, and
Shenanigans.
mosey on. So we want to grab a bunch of different ingredients and stuff here.
We got to pick up the clay, pick up the clay, pick up the clay, pick up the it's the other item you pick up.
Crystals.
All the clay and crystals too.
So yeah, we need a bunch of clay and crystals to cast a first spell in the game, which are going to be
Shenanigans.
we'll see in a little bit here.
So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's going to happen really fast. So that guard was supposed to stop you from progressing into this area without until you go talk to the chief there, but shenanigans.
So yeah, well,
most importantly, where's my chicken?
there's the first skip, or like kind of glitch, called AI Leashing, where we can give a character an input and then switch to another character, and the character will continue on with that input, and we can switch back to the character after he's passed the trigger and continue on. We want to sell these so we have enough money to buy more ingredients. Crystals are very hard to find, so we want to try to buy as many as we can.
Yeah, you see a lot of little minor optimizations here, like he left the dog in the doorway so that after he was done doing his purchases, he could just switch right back and immediately exit. A lot of little kind of setups and optimizations like that will save a lot of time in the end, because this game really comes down to the second.
So this first half here is pretty tricky and quite scary. I did a little manipulation there by going to the left side. There's some crystals that we can convince the game that we picked up with the dog, and it allows us to get 3 clay instead of 1 with the boy there. Even though we didn't actually loot it, the game thinks we did still.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with these ingredients that are setting around all the place. Sometimes they'll give you varied quantities depending on what order you've picked them up on the map. So you'd think that, this one's always going to give you 3, but that's just not always the case. And depending in certain situations how you loot those things, you can take advantage and get more than you normally would otherwise.
Alright, so Bbm Skip coming up here. Hopefully go smooth. Alright. So there's some triggers there that we can skip, kind of similar to the AI leashing, by attacking with the dog and getting him into position. And then switching back to him after he's on the trigger. So we can, if our other party member is far enough off screen, we can despawn things on the map, such as enemies and other objects that we'll see shortly.
Shenanigans!
Very complicated trick coming up. Alright, so what I did there is I got the... Alright, never mind.
Did you? Yeah, there's
just forget anything
setup
happened.
with the intro animation for this guy, as well as the maggots that fall from the ceiling.
Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'll try to pick up those extra casts, you're fine.
What is going on?
Shenanigans! So you see him casting the same spell 8 times in a row. If you're in control of the board...
Whoa! Come on!
Alright.
You saved that bug mark, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, this game
not
is very hard.
It's not the end of the world,
Speedrun
but
is
that's still
absolutely
frustrating.
Death War pipe?
That's why I actually grabbed the crystals here first, just in case.
Yeah, pick up the crystals, pick up the clay, pick up the clay.
But yeah. So you're gonna see me moving around with the dog quite a bit, especially on verticals. So like when I'm the boy, I'll be moving right and left as much as possible, since the boy actually moves faster horizontally, but the Act 1 dog moves faster. Vertically, the Act 1 dog is the fastest.
He
Besides the towards the very end. That was pretty unlucky. So also I wanted to mention that I switched the stances to aggressive there, because I'm going to be performing, well, actually you wouldn't be able to perform the Thrax intro skip without moving the boy into an aggressive AI. And what this does is, when there's enemies and stuff and his energy is low or depleting, he will be able to carry out a movement direction, such as the dog did to skip the guard earlier. Alright, so this is Thrax intro skip. So what we do is we get the boy into position to be leaving the screen on the left as the dog is entering Thrax's chamber, which skips the intro and stuff.
So now you notice that the boy died, but we didn't actually die this time. There's another set of shenanigans going on where you trick the game into thinking that the boy is alive, and he's no longer targetable, I believe. Known as the zombie boy.
Alright, so I just did a little pause buffer there, because if we free this guy on a specific frame, we'll actually skip having to wait this animation out while we're mashing these text boxes. Whoops.
Whoa!
But yeah,
Is that a new way of doing the outro skip?
no. That's just the fastest way to do it. You want to always try to free him before that like if you free him fast enough, you always get the text box to open up before that animation. It saves like another 3 seconds or something. It's pretty big.
Secret area hype.
So this guy's gonna give a secret area hype. So this guy's gonna give us the most awesome spell that we'll never see. We don't want to buy that. And he's also gonna give us a bunch of ingredients. Oh!
Why do we need so many ingredients?
And he's gonna block us as well. But yeah, we're gonna need a bunch more of hardball to kill the next boss coming up here. Pretty evil. Very scary.
Yeah, I apologize to anybody who's trying to sleep at this time. This is not a good time to sleep. It's not gonna happen.
Those plants are vicious.
That was really evil. Alright, so some more frame perfect character switching here. We want to get the dog in the trigger to talk to the guard that we previously skipped, so that we can walk into these things and then we enter the top of Fire Eye's hut like this, and yeah. So now's a pretty decent time for donations. Fire Eyes is gonna explain some stuff to us for a bit here.
Alright. We've got $10 from Conception 2, who was the runner just before. As promised, Gryffindors for life. Thanks to everyone who watched my run, and thanks to ESA for having me. And then we got 2 donations from Beardy Baldy Bear. $50. Giving what I can to the speedrunners giving their all. Thanks so much for ESA and all that run during these events. And then he came in clutch by donating another $12. Ah hell, let me get us to 19k. And with that, indeed, we have reached $19,000 raised.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah!
Thank you all so much.
Alright, so now Fire Eyes gave us a bunch of call beads, which are going to be super important here. Now we're going to go get another spell, Defend, which will be pretty useful later on, and I'll get into that a little bit once we get into
It's the
Act 2
first
here.
ingredient of Superman pie.
Indeed. Alright, so I guess if you could explain what's going on in the volcano, that would be...
You're gonna have to beg a lot harder than that. I'm not gonna be stopping my shouting anytime soon.
Okay, so a very huge skip just happened. The game intends you to head through a graveyard, pick up some spells and whatnot, so you can levitate these rocks out of the way.
Yes.
But like we talked about earlier, when you have things off screen, the game only recognizes 3 sprites on screen at one time. So if one of those sprites is far enough off the screen, the game doesn't recognize it as existing at all. So by keeping the dog far away, we're able to switch back and forth between the dog and the boy and make the rocks despawn and move through them before the camera catches back up.
That actually went really well, and I'm very happy.
It did. Please save our raptor.
Roll indeed.
Please save our raptor.
It's a shame to not do the skip, of course.
Yeah, this next boss is, I mean, you have what you need to do the job, but sometimes he just says no.
I do have the pedal for backup as well, so should be fine pretty much no matter what, but you never know.
Feeling good, guys. I'm feeling good.
Saving the pedal is not the worst thing either, because I could get an extra try on Atlas Glitch, which
Absolutely.
we'll explain in a little bit. Foreshadowing, or spoilers, whatever you want to call it.
Can't give away the secret recipe.
Oh no.
What is going on?
So more manipulation of the cast here, but the key thing here is when he opens and closes the menu by going into a full screen menu, it cancels the animation, and by doing so when all the balls hit at once, it tricks the game into thinking he was only hit by one and not multiple ones, as this boss's AI triggers the special attack after so many hits. And this is the attack. Should be fine. He's got both things alive and full health. And let it hit. Yeah, you gotta let that hit. And then he should be able to just finish it off here if all goes well, no problem. But if you get, you know, weird random RNG where maybe he Gatling gun fires the boy, you never know. But this is looking good. Now this is where those call beads are going to come in handy. He's going to be able to layer a bunch more call beads on top of all those spell casts. And pop goes the Magmar.
That's what I like to see.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so ends Act 1.
So I tried a little tiny optimization there. I tried to just get it so that the camera didn't have to scroll left and right as much and just moved straight up once the cutscene started. And that's Act 1. Yep. Not too bad.
Man. So in terms of plot,
Especially for dying, that was honestly not that bad. But this is gonna be some cutscene going on, and now's not the worst time for another donation or two if you got them.
Yeah, I want to use this time to remind everyone what charity we are raising money for. It's Alzheimerfonden. It's a Swedish national fundraising organization focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. Alzheimerfonden's aim and purpose is to increase fundraising to the benefit of scientific research in order to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease. So, all donations go there. It's a good cause. Please keep donations coming.
Whew. Alrighty. So we got some pretty intense, scary stuff coming on here in a little bit. Pretty much just pray RNG.
Well, I still have my blankie that my grandmother made me, so I should be safe.
Oh, you might want to lend it to me.
What's happening here? Of course, this guy's gonna get.
Can you?
Just want to do some shenanigans.
Come on!
Really, game? Oh my goodness, dude! The dog's yawning.
Alright, so plot-wise, the dog's not supposed to be here, but the game has the dog hidden up at the top of the screen. Oh, it was so tight. So, it has the dog hidden at the top of the screen, and you're intended to fall in the pit and go through this cutscene, but... Oh, hold on one second.
Alright, so basically the dog is always on the screen, whether or not he's even on screen, and on that screen particularly, we can thankfully call him into the screen by doing a frame perfect character transition after we enter that cave once, which allows us to do a aggressive boy leash over the ditch and begin this, or enter Nobilia early, which begins a internal game timer, and we want to start that as soon as possible because we're going to be setting up, using this time to set up a bunch of glitches and exploits, but there's no way to progress the in-game time without just kind of waiting it out, unfortunately.
Yeah, so letting that cutscene play while the in-game timer is active is a lot more beneficial than losing those, minute and a half or whatever of cutscene there is.
Also, you notice I bought a bunch of ingredients and stuff. I'm just gonna be using that for setting up this glitch coming up here, which my buddy
First we have to use another glitch. Yeah, he's skipping back and forth across the desert with sort of developer shortcuts that were believed to be left in accidentally. So otherwise, you got to run kind of just 2.5 minutes straight to get from one side to the other.
Yeah, you'll be running for a very, very long time trying to cross that desert. There's also another... there's a skeleton guy in a boat which we can use to cross the desert, but it is pretty costly, and also it opens up dialogue, which creates lag and pauses the in-game timer, which we don't want to happen.
Oh no!
Also, now we can begin this cutscene that we previously skipped because the in-game timer is already began and it's going in, so it's no longer an issue. We're gonna get our second attack spell and the last one that we need for this run. Crush.
Are you going to save before attempting to bake a pie?
Yeah, I'm gonna grind the levels out first though.
Yes, that pirate guy back at the shop where he purchased the things gave us the second ingredient to Superman pie.
Superman pie.
I'm just making this stuff up as I go, okay?
I
It's
like
late.
it though. It pretty much is Superman pie. Dio.
Oh yeah. Leveling up.
Yeah, we
Grinding
want a
it
little
out.
bit more HP. Part of putting this all together requires taking some damage, so having a bit more HP to take one more hit is a lot better.
Fired up.
Yeah, we're gonna need to get to at least level 6 here, which I think I'm gonna take it. Take a save
Go for it, that's
for
fine.
safety, of course. Oops.
Totally fine.
Well, I could get 85, I guess. If my XP was a little bit higher, I probably would, but at this point, it's not really worth it. What I would have done maybe is routed my XP just a little bit different so that I would have had enough to get another wing, and it would have put me at a little bit higher of a level coming into Act 2, but I forgot to do all that.
Ah, come on.
I got a little thrown off after Thrax, I'm not gonna lie.
No worries. So we're trying to get poisoned, if you're wondering what this is all about. One of the next ingredients is having a status ailment such as poison.
Alright,
I was going to
now
move to the
pray.
next screen and try and collect another status ailment from these monks.
Pray. Oh! Bless RNG, please.
It's something like a 1 in 8 chance of having one of them applied. Run!
This is
So
death.
Oh!
That's death.
Pretty.
Death warp hype.
Well, it doesn't really cost me too much since we're just trying to get this glitch anyways. There's not much that I can do in the meanwhile. It's going to be pretty useful.
This is kind of like where really serious Evermore runs end, because every one of these screen transitions is losing time on the in-game timer. It does not pass while you're doing transitions in certain menus, so getting it on the first try is obviously what you're looking for, but even if it takes 5-6 screen transitions, you're not really losing much else because that in-game timer is running.
Like, runs die to RNG in Act 1 and Evermore, but runs really go to Act 2 to die, because if you don't get Atlas glitch within like the first 2 tries, your run's pretty much over.
From a competitive standpoint.
Well, yeah. Please. No.
Mind if I jump in real quick?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Alright, then I will take the time to remind everyone that there are also some awesome prizes to win. If you have a minimum donation of $30, you can win a ViewSonic Elite monitor. And if you have a minimum amount of $50 over the course of the whole marathon, you can win a Nintendo Switch that was provided to us by our sponsor Kaspersky. So get in those donations.
Deadly. It's funny when you're running through and you don't want to get status effect, it just happens every time. When you're intentionally trying to get it, it's like no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Somebody. Yeah, I just see you getting clubbed right now.
Yes, the monk is not
Yeah.
cooperating, not to being a monk, bro.
This is rather unfortunate. I guess I got all my good RNG out before ESA. Rip.
You still got 7.5 minutes. That's a little less grinding, so you miss out on one more level or something. A teeny little bit less accuracy.
Ooh, this is not.
Monk, bro, please.
Oh no!
Oh, you do. This is it. I can feel it.
He is being very, very not nice right now.
So, what's your favorite Pokemon? Mine's the spider that poisons you.
Was that Spinnerack? Oh yeah.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, there is a spider. I was trying to think. I was like, Yeah, RPG knows his Pokemon.
My Pokemon.
Boom! There it is.
At least I'm getting poisoned pretty fast because you can get really, really unlucky and just never even get poisoned, and that's always a bad feel. All right, there we go.
There he is. So now he's going to apply an item that will revive him when he dies, and then he is going to cast an item that increases his defense, or a spell that increases defense, spell that increases his offense. The poison triggers. He's gonna get himself killed, and if all goes well, pop goes the weasel.
It should be good. Yeah. So
Booyah!
now my stat. So as you saw, my stats are really, 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 really high. Basically, what was happening is the poison was rolling my stat values backwards, and while casting the pixie dust, defend, Atlas, and having the status ailment from the Mad Monk, so either Plague or in this case, or Confound or in this case Plague, the game kind of bugs out and saves that status once you're revived with the pixie dust, and yeah, thus giving us superpowers.
Alright, so you going for Jade Disc or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the Jade Disc. I did some research
Got about 3.5
recently,
minutes.
and it actually should, on average, save about 6 seconds.
Okay, well we're hitting 10 minutes on the timer.
10 minutes on the timer, so we got like 5 minutes.
Like 3.5 if you're going for Jade Disc. Maybe. Well, I guess you could do squeeze out 4.
So wait, where are we into the timer? Plus with the death, right?
You got 10 minutes. Oh, with the death, right? With the death,
Because it reset.
yes, good call. Let me just try and do some rough calculations.
I think I should have about 10 minutes. I think.
You know, a good friend would have paused the timer.
Yeah. It's all good. It's the effort that counts. Should have probably tried. I guess I should have just looked through. I was trying to pay attention to where I was at, but oh well. So as you saw, I warped up here to kind of just spawn these sniffs over and over again. The reason is because the sniffs give us an exponentially large amount of XP compared to the other enemies in the desert. We're gonna try to utilize these spawn plates to level up really fast, hopefully.
And speaking of level, maybe that's just the best way to determine it. You're usually popping off at like 12 by the time you go back anyway, right?
It wouldn't really help time-wise. There's no way to really know. I mean, on a third try Atlas, I can get...
Like when you do your average run.
On a slow third try Atlas, so my most recent attempt, I was able to still achieve level 15 in time.
Wow, that's Wild. I guess if you're grinding sniffs and not spiders and tumbles.
Yeah, I got an okay path down, but it's still not like something that, I don't know. It could still use some work. The grind is definitely not the most optimized as it could be. But we need to get a certain amount of kills regardless, so that we have enough currency to actually grab the ingredients to cast Crush. And the reason being is there's going to be one enemy coming up that we have to use spells to kill still. There we go.
Crossing the desert in reverse is a fair bit trickier.
That's a little bit finicky. You have to really, really hug the wall tight. Whereas the other spot is much more lenient.
Hugging that wall and trying to lure the enemies over. He's trying to set up a glitch to trick the game into changing the flag from the item that the enemy drops to the thing he's about to pick up, so that the quantities will reverse essentially, and he'll get a lot more of his ingredients than he intended.
So yeah, if I was extremely lucky and I got a prize drop, and from that prize I happened to get the currency, which would be 75 joules, and then that a certain frame window I were to pick up the within that frame window I were able to pick up the I did buy 40, right? Or 35? I need to check. Okay. So if in that window I were to pick up the ingredient after picking up the currency, it would give me the amount of that currency for the ingredient. I should be able to get. I really don't know where I am time-wise, actually.
What is going on?
Oh, Spider Claw level 2. It's got to be getting close.
So I noticed you picked up some bone a little bit ago.
Oh yeah, so what I did was I was actually the game naturally, like I did in Act 1, where we could manipulate the clay to be 3 instead of 1 by grabbing the crystals first. You can, in a certain order, loot those ingredients and it will give you more wax and limestone in the end. So we want to do that to try to save some inputs in buying, because the longer you're in a buy menu, the more lag frames you cause, losing you time on the market timer. Should be able to squeeze one more level out for sure, I think. I hope. I think I should be good. I mean, ultimately, just don't let me forget to get an Atlas medallion, please.
An Atlas medallion?
Yes. Or Amulet of Annihilation. Whoops.
Alright, just making sure.
Yeah. You know, there's new tech. Oh, he said it's gonna be closing any minute, didn't he? So I probably don't have enough time, but I'm gonna go for it.
Blah.
Blah. I'm gonna go for it anyways.
Well, the original timer is at 16.
I made it.
Dun 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 dun.
I don't think it would have been making
Are you taunting that chicken? Are you taunting that chicken?
I was, but I'm not gonna do it, because if you actually taunt him until he blows you up, then you get knocked into the inn there. I've done that so many times already.
Alright, so now we're just donations. Oh, is it done already?
Yep. Alright, so this is our first case of cutscene RNG. The boy can actually walk straight right instead of just going all the way down there, which loses us, I think, 3 seconds. But yeah. Now is not a bad time for announcements or more donations if you got them.
Yeah, indeed, we have one. We have $50 from Napes Hux saying, "Yay, charity!" And that one goes towards Diddy Kong Racing 100%. The character choice is Pipsy.
Oh yeah.
And I want to remind everyone that there's like some more bit wars going on. For example, for the language choice for World to West later on, and for the mice in Back in Time, glitch showcase for Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for later on. You should get your donations towards those.
Alright, so here I'm gonna try to do a little bit more camera manipulation. Try to save a few frames. Scroll frames. So I use the boy's head there as a little visual cue.
It's looking really good.
Try to get the dog in the middle. I was a little too far to the right, but still not the worst. You want to grab those pots too, because the dog will just start to sniff all over the place if we don't otherwise.
You can't have your dog sniffing.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Final Fantasy VI.
Oh yeah. So if you look in the back of the crowd there, you might see some familiar faces.
It was the best boss in the game.
Shh. He's scary though. He can cause some issues that we won't talk about until later. Hopefully.
Are you gonna get the quick kill? You gonna wreck him? No problem.
I really hope so. Oh, okay.
Just like that.
Alright. I've been missing that quick kill quite a bit lately. And this fight can be really, really scary if you do, because just trying to kill him can just soft lock the game randomly for no reason at all. So, got past that hurdle.
It's like, it's not so wild in a sense that it's uncontrollable, but attacking him while he's doing certain animation frames that he has will cause the soft lock and a sound glitch. Or rather, it'll cause the sound glitch, which will soft lock the game.
There's really nothing that you can do to prevent it. Just get the quick kill.
Just don't hit him when he's putting up his arms or doing anything else other than like moving.
Well, yeah, but it can still just happen randomly, you know.
I think I've had it happen at hitting him from the front while he was moving.
Yeah, just don't mess that up. So we're gonna be making our way back towards the start of Act 2 here, now that we have the dog again. And we're gonna be making our way towards probably my least favorite dungeon in the game. And the scariest dungeon in the game as well.
You got this.
Well, some bad things can happen. Alright, so I was holding Sniff there with the dog, as you saw. The reason being is, if I didn't get reverse desert skip first try, we can actually do a super free reverse desert skip by having the dog all the way up, which scrolls the screen by character switching and then just running up. So, whether or not you get
the
it on
desert has some really janky mechanics. If you move into certain positions, it'll just sort of teleport you to a different area of the desert.
Yeah, it tends to scroll all over the place. Saw the biggest cricket run across the floor, and it was super distracting.
Picking up those roots was very important. He doesn't need the roots, but he needs to remove the obstacle so the dog does not get distracted later.
Oh yeah. You can feel free to talk.
You're doing great.
Alright. I feel better now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so we want to just do some precast there. The reason being, it will level my crush spell. And if I do enough, it will always kill the next boss that I need to use Crush on.
Yeah, a lot more dog abuse there, leaving him in. That sounds awful. Oh, I'd like to reword that. A lot more dog manipulation there, leaving him in doorways so that you can just quick transfer to him and escape. Otherwise, in this particular room, you're forced to do sort of a puzzle to get back out.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to completely run back and re-navigate that whole pathway, but by just leaving the dog at the entrance and then walking out, we can skip all that. It's really nice.
And know that pillar didn't explode. There was a boss there. He died so fast you may not have seen it straight.
Oh! No!
Yeah, Leashing shenanigans.
Oh man, that was still way better than any PB attempt I would ever get. So we could lock the dog in play, or the boy in place there to be safe, but we can also just kind of YOLO it and hope that he stays in place. But since there's a lot of enemies on screen and he's aggressive, things can go horribly wrong if we're unlucky. Also, another massive RNG skip. Shouts to Skarsnickus for finding this one. Ends up saving like 6 seconds, I believe, for this skip alone. But this skip is the whole reason that we keep the boy in aggressive stance now. And I just had the most beautiful possible skip ever, where the boy started to run in the direction that I needed him to. But he can do he can do a lot of different things. He can decide to just run straight off into the ditch, which is not the worst thing in the world. But he can also decide to walk into the trigger, which will lose us a bunch of time, unfortunately. You just kind of have to pray RNG.
If you're wondering how he's walking over these pits, by the way, we never really talked about it, but story-wise, you're supposed to pick up an alchemy formula that will allow you to see the path.
Somehow I made up a ton of time too, actually, I think, from after Atlas Glitch. So a little tiny optimization I found there. It saves about like 15 frames or something, but we can attack down on Megator. He's invisible. And goodbye. It kind of locks him in place due to his sprite being so massive when we attack down. Now we're gonna make our way to the pyramid, which is the second scariest part of the entire game, I guess. Well,
this is only in terms of really like high professional speedrunning, like Secret of Evermore mastery here. Like this isn't like make or break your actual like run, like you're gonna have to kill it and reset the game. It just means your PB is probably done because of how much frame perfect stuff is happening here.
it's a lot of RNG factor. So pretty much every one of these guys, at any given point that I have to attack a guy to get him out of my way, if he blocks a prize, that's really, really bad, because I have to then pick up the prize and wait for the prize to dissipate in order to keep running. And there's also the factor to crit and to miss, and all those things cost us a bunch of time, which is why we bought the Jade disc previously, because it will be increasing our hit percent chance. And the main reason that we want this Jade disc is because later on there's a boss that is extremely his dodge rate is very, very high. Also some frame perfect character switches. So by getting the dog onto the switch and then switching to the boy as the dog is hitting the switch, we are able to skip a sequence where the camera would pan back and forth, and we're gonna do that again. We can also run the dog to the bottom right to position him closer to this door that we need to break with the boy in order to free him and bring him back into our party again. So we can
Those sons of that went nice.
You can sequence break this little cutscene with the boy doing the fanfare on the axe by just switching back to the dog and back to the dog and back to the boy. Try to see if I can get a little skip here. No. Oh no. Oh no. Alright.
Just one thing after another.
Yeah, so this is a lot of RNG here. All these enemies, these sniffs can produce a ton of lag, or none of them can decide to spawn for whatever reason. So there's another little tiny optimization here. We can move the dog to the middle and kind of save a bit of time, because whenever we have to wait for the dog to walk somewhere, it's very slow. Sequence break. So what would normally happen here is this guy would cast that spell and get off of that like statue thing that he was connected to and spin around all over the place, and we'd have to wait to be able to even attack him. It's horrible. But by opening and closing the menu while that's all going on, we can just completely sequence break that and attack him before any of that even happens. Okay, so super scary RNG skip. Oh, alright, that wasn't the worst thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, skipped a major plot trigger there. That will save a lot of time later in backtracking to a dungeon to get something, or backtracking to some other sequence break and doing it a different way.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, the game just a wee bit broken.
But yeah, as my buddy Gin foreshadowed too, there's going to be some fetch quests going on later where we'll need to grab some parts, and there's a big cutscene that we skipped where we end up losing that part, and by skipping that we keep it in our inventory all the way to the end, and we don't have to go do that part anymore. Alright, so Aegis. Yeah. This guy, he's a pretty tough
wearing
boss.
green.
Well, yeah, he's wearing green.
You'll never see his final form.
Yeah, so this is actually the evil twin of Horus, who's another character we just never see. Thank goodness.
Oh, we're skipping the DLC here.
Yeah, skipping the DLC. Alright, so this boss is actually super bad casually, but yeah, goodbye.
Like, whoa, man, my mind was in there. Yeah.
Whoa. So, as you see in, there's a little explosion there, and the dog is running up to the top here. This is a little skip our buddy Green Ambler found a few years back, and by running the dog all the way to the top of the screen, we actually can save 2 seconds, because at the end of this cutscene, he would have to walk up, and as I mentioned earlier, the dog is just really slow whenever he has to walk somewhere. Oh, free time save. Cool. Alright. Now's not the worst time for some more announcements, if you got them. Some juicy dialogue.
Then I want to tell our viewers about a charity we're supporting. Thanks to gifts and wills from private individuals and companies, Alzheimerfonden was able to distribute almost 30 million Swedish krona last year. That's about 3 million euro. Even still, the money is not enough to be able to support all important projects that lie ahead. The Alzheimer Fund could only grant about 19% of the funds applied for. So all donations go towards making that percentage way higher next year. So keep them coming.
Ranking it up!
So this is Horus and Madronius, the guys that we skipped earlier, the good versions of the green dude that we just saw before Aegis. And the reason we skipped him is he's the guy that actually gives us the Revealer spell. And that cutscene is a little bit over a minute long, and if we were to have fallen into the ditch by accident, we would have been watching it. So
It would have been a treat.
It would have been bad.
The greatest cutscene in the game.
It would have been. I would have been really sad. Yeah.
I love watching.
So we're gonna make our way back over to this side of town, and as you saw me on the way back earlier, I took this little gondola thing back over. The reason is because we need to ride it once more. So, instead of having to get the dog to go fetch it for us, we can just ride it together. Make our way. Now we actually want to fall into the ditch because that cutscene trigger is no longer there, and it puts us right into position to be where we need to go
More
here.
water.
Oh yeah, so there's water there normally that is no longer there. But we don't need to know about that. Yeah, notice these rocks and the noises. Very squishy.
This is probably a lovely section for most people casually.
Oh yeah. This so now we're in a labyrinth of very evil poisonous oblong guys. These guys, they're really mean actually. Now that our hitbox is deleted, it's not a problem, but if we didn't know where we were going and these guys could hit us, we'd be getting bonked all over the place. So I'm trying to just position the dog as close to these teleporters as I can for each screen that I need him. And Aquagoth, here we go. Alright.
Fired up!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So you gotta be careful with this boss. He's doing 7 casts instead of 8 because this boss likes to cast magic, and if a 9th cast happens, the game will probably crash. So it's not worth the risk.
No, it absolutely will crash. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I can do flares because they're not animation spells, so it will not cause the game to crash. Whew. Alright, that's Act 2.
Congratulations to you.
Incoming best dog.
Oh yeah. Well, wait. What about? Well, no spoilerinos. Oh, I forgot.
So what about humor?
All of my respect, it goes to you.
Alright, so some more somewhat juicy lore here. This guy, actually, I don't even know. What does he say? Basically just tells us to go to Ivory Keep.
In the well.
Yeah, our dog is caught in the well, and then when he comes out, he happens to be a pink poodle. And a fine poodle he is. That's the only
Let's go,
dialogue
boy.
books.
You can also fiddle around with that the wheelie there and pull up one of those goblin things from underneath, which kind of
Oh
triggers
yeah,
next dragons later.
I should have did that, didn't I? Or shouldn't I? Oh well.
You're not used to it because you don't run hundo yet.
Yet. I don't know about all that. But yeah, we'll now we'll be making our way over here towards the
And you
freak
might have
show.
noticed that time is kind of progressing through the ages. I guess if that wasn't apparent in the first place.
Sorry. My throat is all bleh. But
Stay hydrated.
so as you noticed earlier, or towards the start of this section here, I walked over and talked to the vendor there. The reason it was super important that I did my market shopping, or
Oh, yeah,
market shopping, in Act 2 before the market timer ended is so that I could buy that amulet and do that trading. Otherwise, I would have to do a very long and time-consuming trading sequence here to get that amulet. Or run all the way to Lance's house there.
It's just outside of town. It's all good.
It's so hot right now.
It's getting hot in here. So take off.
So this guy's kind of like selling this oddity show. They puts a pig mask on your dog. Tries to convince you that it was a pig.
The pig poodle. Pig poodle is best poodle. So this is a little bit of cutscene gauntlet here. Now we get a little break from mashing text. The pig race is about to begin. No, yeah, you're good. Sorry.
Who's your favorite pig?
Truffle Trouble.
Truffle Trouble.
But no, yeah, you can make an announcement. Sorry.
No worries. I would like to really quickly remind everyone that there's still a bid war going on for the language choice in World to the West. Currently, Norwegian is leading in front of Polish and German, and there are some other more obscure options like Arabic and Chinese. If you want to see those, you should get in donations towards that. And also, there's a glitch showcase for Demise in Back in Time for Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword later on. That's currently at $300 out of $500. So if you want to see it, you should really crank it up with the donations.
Yeah,
crank it up!
Crank it up! Alright, so real quick, super massive sequence break right there. All you gotta do is hold down, but we actually just saved several minutes.
How many frames was that? Like 3,000? It's over 9,000!
It's over 9,000! But yeah, if you just hold down there, there's a big massive banquet cutscene where the dog is a little bit naughty, and while we're having our banquet conversation, he interrupts and runs all over the table, and then we have to navigate with the dog through a giant maze, and it is very time consuming.
It's the worst section in the game.
It's actually probably the worst section in the game.
It is the worst section in the game. At least the forest gives you hints.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. It's extremely dark. There's... Oh,
We're playing chess,
Get away! Get him!
This quick kill has not been treating me very well lately either, unfortunately. But yeah, what we could do there is attack up, kind of like how I did with Megator earlier, and keep him stuck in place, and it'll leave us right there by the door, which we need to exit. I also forgot to mention that you saw me grab some spare wings on the way through the pyramid earlier, and the reason is because I'm gonna need a bunch of them for a massive skip coming up later. Also, there will be a headphone advisory because this skip is going to produce some noises that will probably hurt your ears.
What happened there? It said something.
Pull up your headphones, man.
So, also, as you saw, the wings said that I did nothing when I used it, and the reason that we use wings there is because those sniffs are actually no longer aggressive towards us. So even though things can't really hit us, they can still target us. But when we use wings, we're no longer targetable, and that makes it extremely useful in situations where enemies will block us on stairways and such.
You know you're a pro when you can just like explain all these other things and concentrate on something totally different as you just move through this maze without even thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's hints, but it takes a while to figure it out.
This is just hundreds and hundreds of hours of doing it over and over again. But yeah, this this section can be pretty evil. There's a lot of enemies and just like very tight corners, so if you're trying to really save time and be optimal, it can be pretty trolly. You want to oh yeah, so I didn't fully explain it earlier, but as the boy, you'll see me moving kind of horizontally, like up and down, zigzaggy, and the reason is because I'm trying to maximize my left and right movement, since he moves slower going up and down. Also, you'll notice that I'll try to keep my energy bar really low, so at 0, or I'll be sprinting in corners before attacking an enemy. The reason is I won't be able to deal 999 damage unless if my energy is depleted. If I do a charge attack, it'll deal
Charging it up!
Charging it up to 0.
Oh, thank you.
I really saw the Jade disc pay off in that Doppel fight, by the way.
Oh yeah, so I don't think I fully explained that. So the real benefit of the Jade disc is normally on everything else it gives us 2% hit bonus to hit percent, but for the very final fights coming up where enemies have a very high hit evasion, it will actually give us a 4% bonus for whatever reason. Ooh, look at those misses.
Didn't pay off there. The debate continues.
And that's why, well, so with the level route, we max out our hit percent gain by level 15, so that's why I decided it's worth it. So you're gonna see me enter the sewer and leave the sewer. Now I'm gonna be going back this way.
What's going on? What's happening here?
What's happening?
Dude! He's doing it.
So yeah, you can't really see what's going on, but I'm using wings off screen and navigating my way back. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I just set a trigger to actually skip a boss called Verminator. Ah, I'm getting trolled. No.
But he's the Verminator.
So this skip will actually save us around a minute. I think it saves us a little bit over a minute. And it eliminates a pretty harsh RNG where we would have to fight another boss with spells, and the potential of him surviving isn't too low, unfortunately.
But it isn't without its risks. Not for him. Not on his machine.
Oh yeah. So the problem with the skip is, unfortunately, we don't know why, but it's not the success rate is not 100%. It doesn't work on every console 100% of the time. But for the SNES Junior, it has a 100% success rate. So if you have a SNES Junior, then you're Gucci. So we're gonna have some more cutscenes coming up here. She's gonna give us some call beads that we don't need, and yeah.
It's a good time if you want to jump in.
Well, yeah, sorry, early morning here in Europe.
No.
I would like to take the time then to remind everyone of the prizes that you can win by donating over the whole course of the marathon, like all donations count together. If you donate a minimum amount of $30, you can win an awesome ViewSonic Elite monitor, which are very, very good monitors. I've used them before on the ESA LAN events, like when it was actually happening on site. And then there's a $50 donation over the whole course of the marathon. For that, you can win a Nintendo Switch. So keep donations coming, it's for a good cause, and you can win awesome prizes. What else would you want?
Even if you already have a Switch, you can never have too many Switch.
That's a good point. You could play Tetris with
at that
yourself.
point, you just switch it up again.
So we got some more cutscene RNG coming up here. Oh, and then the dog behaved. So the dog has the ability to just walk around up top there for no reason. Thinks he's cool, I guess. Also, you noticed I did a double attack there at the end. The reason is, there's a small chance that the game will drop the prize on that final enemy, and if we loot that prize as we're basically killing the enemy, it'll allow us to run during the fanfare and skip that final bit and leave the room early. But it's pretty, you know, just get lucky. Not much you can do about it. Yeah. Kind of like IFG. Just hope that you get it.
Also, I like that you call them prizes. Makes it really nice when you get one. You know, you get a prize.
Well, there's a spreadsheet that Panda showed me a long time ago, and it refers to them as prizes, so that's why I refer to them as prizes, I guess.
You're kind of killing the magic a little bit.
No. Sorry. So, here we're gonna go at the Night Basher. It's all cool and green. At least for that screen. Also, we got a headphone warning coming up here, so if you're wearing headphones or, you know, I'm sensitive to hearing, there's gonna be some loud, nasty, glitchy noises. Verminator skip, let's go! Oh, actually, I forgot.
Did I mention this game was broken a little bit?
Yeah, these raptors. Uh-oh. That was scary. I'd be lying if I were to say that I wasn't scared right there for a second. I don't think I've ever heard the game produce that noise before. I'm not joking at all. It went. It was pretty interesting.
I've never seen that before.
Anyways, that's a Verminator skip.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah! So that's pretty awesome. So now we have another really scary RNG section coming up here, where this can definitely make or break a run if you're on a good pace. But there's a lot of different little enemies that can block you here. We also need the dog to follow us up to this section here, because when we're going up this little elevator here in a second, if the dog isn't on screen, he will pretty much just get stuck off screen, and we'll have to run into the trigger or go get him, and he'll get summoned on screen eventually, and it's very slow, loses a bunch of time. It's just no good. Alright, so looks like we may have gotten some good RNG. Holy macro, alright, we got perfect RNG.
Crash on this boss.
The game blessed us. So this guy, he can just go all over the place, or he can sit all the way off screen there. And if we're lucky and don't miss, or crit too low to the point where and hit him on a bad frame where it doesn't cause knockback, then he can get too close to us and he'll grab us and throw us down, which loses us a lot of time. If he's on screen when we run up to the fight, he'll actually be able to grab us much easier, but if he isn't, then we have a good bit of time while we get close to him before he'll even be able to grab us for whatever reason.
And sometimes if he grabs you and drops you on the left side, the game just soft locks for no reason.
It's from when you kill him. You can't, if you get dropped by him and you try to kill him, a second that you run back up there, the game will always soft lock, because he won't go up to his perch when you kill him. He'll just get stuck on the floor.
I landed.
Huh? Oh,
I've had
crash when
a
you landed.
Yeah, That's the beautiful thing about Evermore. There's like own unique ways to crash and soft lock the game, and we just keep discovering more.
Oh, well, I'm definitely glad I never got grabbed by him then. Well, now I know that for future, I guess, future reference. Don't
And
get
the
grabbed
weird
by him.
thingy, or the delay, whatever you want to call it,
What, the fireball?
with like Mangala. Just sometimes all of a sudden it just like stops and then
Oh yeah,
and,
I
like,
haven't
if
had
it
that
goes
happen yet either.
up out of
Thankfully,
nowhere.
I haven't had that happen yet either. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried as to what would I do if something like that happened, but let's just not even talk about that. Good RNG, nothing but good RNG. Alright, so if you remember the freak show cutscene earlier, get over here.
And a spoopy face.
And he's back. Dio reaches level 20. So see, if I had gotten to level 15, I would have reached 21 there, which would give me the max benefit on the raptors towards the end. Which probably doesn't make too much sense to a lot of you guys, but you'll see. I mean, when I get there.
Oh, she meant to do that.
We will be killing a secret enemy here in this run, so
Whoa, some DLC here.
so we might actually reach 21. We should reach 21, but
It was the original DLC.
this is the original DLC. This is true.
Run DLC.
All right, so massive. Oh my goodness! This is the
So
worst
you can't
case of
go
cutscene
straight right.
RNG. Yeah. No, you can explain. You go.
Who, me? What? I was
Yeah.
just saying he could straight right if he wanted, but no.
Alright. All of your party can basically go up there, and it can lose you a ton of time if everybody decides to go up.
You think pathing would be a little more solid in events like that?
Yeah. So now we want to make a little bit of a backtrack here. Now is definitely a good time for announcements, as we have quite a bit of traveling and text message.
Alright, I'll gladly jump in then. We have a $20 donation from 8 with a lot of T's at the end.
Oh
Had to donate during Colin's run. Fire it up! and
Fire it
fire
up!
it up! Hello to RPG on commentary as well.
Oh, hi.
Ooh.
Alright, so now we want to make sure that we're not holding Sniff here with the dog, and the reason being is that first set of stairs there, if the dog is trailing too far behind, he will get called in, kind of like how I was explaining with the Sterling cutscene, and it's really, really bad. So we actually need him to be with us just for that first set of stairs, for whatever reason. So I try to kind of just maximize my sprints. I didn't fully explain the method of sprinting in this game, but it's a little complicated. We want to mash, but not too much. It's kind of rhythmatic, where we want to press on like frame 1, hold for 2 or 3 frames, something like that, and then let go on the 4th frame and rinse and repeat. So
A very delicate dance.
yeah, takes a little while to get used to, but ultimately you want to maximize your energy, like your full sprints, because it's gonna save you, or you're gonna end up, you'll get the best sprint or run out of it ultimately if you just let the guy run.
Sprint, and then congratulations to you.
Congratulations. So here we're going to be using the wings. Again, it's very, very, very important that we have wings here, which is why you saw me save them on the way back, going up those steps against the sniffs.
But it didn't work.
Oh, it did. These raptors can be very, very mean, and you'll see what I mean on the way back even. Also, shoutouts to Solar Cell 007. Found out a little trick there where we can actually loot this chest coming up here with the dog, and we have to do this twice. The game needs us to get a 3 different ingredients, but it doesn't matter which ingredients we get. So, for whatever reason, this chest will respawn, and we'll be making a trip back here again in a little bit.
Yeah, ingredient 1 was the diamond eyes that he skipped back in Act 2. This would be ingredient 2, but ingredient 3 isn't really necessary because all these ingredients just carry the same flag.
Yeah, and ingredient 3 is pretty difficult to get. You have to go and kill a boss which is got a lot of health, and you know, just having to get to the boss alone costs us a bunch of time, so it's much easier to just grab this again.
It's a reskin of that first boss, so you're dealing with having to get through the cage, or you're also dealing with lightning and whatnot that she's casting, which is just slowing things down, locking the screen while the animation plays. Oh, so close.
Aw, come on!
There we go.
90% swag.
So what happened there is, on the same frame that I left the room with the dog, I gave the ingredients to Tinker with the boy away, which saved us some text that we received actually while we were screen transitioning, but also cuts out a bit due to frame perfect character transitions.
At some point, we've all walked out of the room while somebody was talking. It's pretty much that.
Yeah, it's pretty. That one is pretty difficult because we can't actually. So while we're in the doorway with the dog, there's no way to buffer and switch characters at the same time. So we have to, on the same frame, switch characters and give the ingredient away, which is why I buffered for a second time as the boy before giving the ingredient away. So since we pick up the gauge twice there, and the dog moves really slow, putting him on the platform early and grabbing the gauge with him saves us about, I think, 3 seconds, because it's a second and a half for each. So pretty neat.
Oh, over 100 frames. Whoa!
Oh, whoa. So we got another neat skip coming up here. Which
Skipping the meat, come on!
Surprise! Also soft lock the game if it goes poorly.
Yeah, so fun fact, if you this little developer forgotten warp here thing. when I perform that skip there, the Windwalker is just gone. There's no way to get it back. So if you were playing the game and you didn't have the ingredients beforehand, you're stuck. There's nothing you can do at that point. And I'm pretty sure that's happened to me casually as a kid before. Tell you the truth.
Also happen where you land in different places without it.
Yeah, I think there's at least one more spot in the world map there where that can actually happen.
Yeah, because I think I remember ending back up on the jungle plateau without the Windwalker.
Yep, that can also happen. Yeah, the game. This game is very
broken.
fun.
Oh, it's enjoyably fun.
Oh yeah, and here we go, Toaster Dog, everybody's favorite dog. This is best dog. Let's be honest. And
Oh, for sure.
we are zooming.
Oozle.
So fun thing about Toaster Dog is, even though his energy is at 0, he still moves infinitely faster than anything else in this game. We're gonna be using this to our advantage.
He's also ridiculously powerful.
Alright, so now we're gonna be killing the secret boss. You may have remembered this guy from somewhere earlier in the game. He's gonna make another guest appearance real quick. Oh. That's not
I
good.
don't like the buffer method.
There we go. That was not cool. I couldn't get in the right spot for some reason.
Trick
yeah.
the game into allowing
If
him
you could
to
explain that while I do this, that would be great. Guess
Yeah,
your
for
numbers.
Right now, he's got to try and guess a random sequence of numbers that who knows when it's decided, but it's random every time. I mean, like every game, so to speak. It's not random, like every time you try to access it. But anyway, what he did was he tricked the game into allowing him through a hatch that he was supposed to open through other means with the boy. Now, there's a way you can just do some menu changes and buffer it. Am I distracting you?
No, you're good.
There's a way you can do some menu pauses and buffer it, but you can also just do really quick character swaps, and that'll also trigger it. However, that method is a lot harder, and the swap has to be like very perfectly done. So I mean, you're gonna go for that in a serious attempt, just because if you get it, then you get it. But otherwise, you can guarantee it with a buffered input or sequence of. Are we coming on that code there?
This is not going well.
This is like the Italian job. So he's
Oh my
basically-
gosh.
Bingo!
Thank you. That was like almost. That was about halfway to being the worst possible scenario there for the code. As you can tell, as you guessed, there's a lot of options or whatever. So here we go, the face. The guy from acting. We don't even see him because he's obliterated. Oh, there he is.
There's the face.
There he is. Oh no, he's gone now.
So this act and clearly this boss were unfinished products. The game's development was rushed in the end, and they just sort of compacted this whole act into this little space station thingy here. And I'm sure this boss was going to be just amazingly grand walk.
Oh yeah.
Instead, we get two wall face. But I'm impressed.
I still think it's awesome that they included it though, personally.
Oh, for sure.
Alright, hopefully.
About that. I'm pretty sure I was just like messing with that panel, then put a few numbers. I was like, well, I'm done with this. And now we just skip this entire act, and that little detour to the Seeger boss, by using that same door character transfer trickery shenanigans.
So it also known as Saturn Skip, found way back in like 1990 or something, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Saturn?
Yeah. So as you saw, I ran just straight up right there with the dog. The reason being is there's these fans and these subwoofers, and they're actually always going to push the boy down if you try to run up there, and you're intended to knock these bombs up to destroy them. But since the dog moves so fast, we can just run up there and it will call the boy on screen to follow the dog. So we got
the boy gets past a certain trigger, the wind is no longer blowing.
We got the final boss rush coming up here. I'm keeping the dog in the bottom right here so that he tries to reduce some lag, because he'll produce a lot of lag on the game if he's on screen. And these are the metal raptors that I was talking about earlier, where having level 21 and the Jade Disc play a big role. Missing on these guys can be really, really bad, as they'll tend to run all over the place. And we want to try to, obviously, just annihilate everything, so pray RNG. Or bless RNG. So we got 3 waves of these metal raptors here, and then we got a wave of metal Rimzillas coming up. And we don't actually get any experience until these Rimzillas. So before, besides Secret Boss, the Secret Boss gave us experience. So that's why the grind earlier is very important. If you're trying to go for
a Magmar.
From Metal Magmar? Well, yeah, but we want the experience for Dark Toaster Dog and the Raptors. That's what the Jade Disc is really for, ultimately, or the reason it's really good, because it gives us a 4% hit bonus on this guy, who dodges a lot. But we got really, really good RNG actually.
Get the spider, get him!
Come on!
So the reason we wait to kill the vacuum guy is because if we were to kill him sooner, it would just produce a bunch more spiders, which loses a bunch of time. There we only really need to kill the spider to reduce lag, but the vacuum is actually important to bringing Metal Magmar out. And now we have the final boss.
Oh, final boss.
And bring him to the left to reduce some lag from the explosions. Also, roll credits, because this is pretty much done. Get ready on time.
Yep. This is going to be final hit. And time.
Congratulations!
And that's Secret of Evermore. Oh. Thank you, ESA, for having me. Again, I'm Colin, or colinbolts. Thank you, Gin, or Gintatsu, and RPG for doing commentary. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Be sure to stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed.
Fire it up!
Fire it up!
Fired up!